handle the truth.
And now our next guest for part 2 of Women's Appreciation Day, JB, Chasity Melvin, WNBA legend, former All-Star, one of NC State's greatest products. Welcome to the Truth Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, guys.
No, not one of. She is regarded as the greatest player to go with the Wolfpack. Let's just call it what it is. Third all-time in scoring, first in rebounds. We're going to call it what it is. She's the greatest player to ever go through there. Go ahead. Co-sign, Mel. Go ahead.
I got some girls that, Andrea Stinson, that's one of the reasons I wanted to become a pro. Scored 50 in a game. I don't know. She was probably the greatest.
Yeah, but you can't do it. That's what we do. We do the voting. LeBron, we don't let LeBron vote for himself, so you don't get a vote. I said what it was. Okay, we're gonna keep going.
But I do feel like my jersey should be retired. I ain't gonna lie.
Statue. All that. We need statues. We need all that. I'm pro. You know what? Me and Mikey got the whole. We're gonna keep going. Now we had Coop on here before, and I told everybody what my top 5 was. Mikey gave his spiel. I want to go right into it. Who are the top 5 WNBA players of all time? Not women's basketball, WNBA players. And if Coop ain't number 1, we're cutting you off.
Number one, I'm going to raise the roof. Number 1 for sure. Just as, a young buck watching her raise the roof, that she was everything. And the way she dominated on the court, obviously, she will always be number 1 in my book. Number 2, wow, I got to throw a post player out there. And I'm definitely not going to put myself in the top 5. But it's a close tie, but I got to go with, dang it, it's hard. It's a hard one. I really got to tie at number 2 with the post player I'm going to throw in there.
We need 5. We need 5. I don't want to hear it. If I give you mine, maybe it'll make it better for you.
Okay, so, help me out. Go with your 5. I
got you. Coop was number 1. Diana Taurasi was my number 2. Lisa Leslie was my number 3. Maya Moore was number 4. And Candace Parker was number 5 for me. Wow. That's my 5.
Wow.
WNBA. WNBA all time.
Wow. It's going to be – see, it's hard for me to give a top 5 because my top 5 are going to be the people that gave me the most problems.
I didn't tell you to take my top 5. I asked you what was your top 5.
I mean, top 2 notably Cynthia Cooper and Diana Taurasi, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Respectively.
Well, as a matter of fact, Melvin, who gave you all those problems then? Who were some?
I mean, the center that gave me the most problem was Yolanda Griffith. When she's got a championship, and I really feel like she doesn't get a lot of super, credit. But she was a beast. I mean, Lisa Leslie was great. Lisa Leslie also, I mean, you got to put her on there in the top 5 because, she won championships with LA. But, Yo and Sacramento, Sacramento never gets publicity. So, you know what I'm saying? You just go under the radar. But her and Tisha Pinachero together, they were – I mean, Yo was just tough for me. I did not get any sleep the night before the game, like every time I played her, Yeah. So, but I obviously got Lisa Leslie in the top 5, Cynthia Cooper, Diana Taurasi. You got to put Cheryl Swoops in there in the top 5. I do anyways. I mean, hands down, Swoops could just get her shot off. She was just great. I mean, she really was. And then I got to throw a point guard in there. I got to throw a point guard. I got to give them love. It's all so tough. But right now, I mean, top 5, you got to give it to Sue Bird with her longevity and sealing the deal with those championships. And I've known Sue for a long time, played with her in Russia. And not only is she just a silent killer, but she's a silent assassin off the court. Like, she's really cool people. Like, you look at her demeanor, you're just like, she's not really a killer, like a Diana Taurasi or Coop, but she really is. And her IQ is off the charts. So in that top 5. So I got Coop, Diana, Lisa, although Yo was the hardest for me. Yo and Lauren Jackson. Lauren Jackson's career got cut short. I think it'd be a tie with her and Lisa Leslie as being the best center And then obviously Cheryl Swoops and Sue Bird. But it's tough, you know. I love Mike too. It's really tough though.
I like the Sue Bird definitely. But I feel where you're going. My question is this, because a lot of people don't know. You know, you've really done the trifecta as far as being a great basketball player, then transitioning into coaching. You're currently on the staff with Phoenix. So you have the opportunity to be around one of the GOATs, you know, in Taurasi, but you also there with BG, with Brittany, and you get to see really who is supposed to be the Lou Alcindor of our generation, you know, in the WNBA, of course, of being 6'9" and being able to dunk in the games and things of this nature. I would like to know what's the difference in cultures and era, because when I was coming up and I saw you guys play and I played against the women of that time, it seemed like a whole nother level of competitiveness and passion and love for the game, when today it just seems like a lot of entitlement and crybaby stuff. So that's me and my experiences. I don't want to hear from myself at this standpoint. I want to hear from somebody that played the game in that era, that's watching this era, and also coaching at the highest level right now. What's your outlook on where the game has gone?
Well, I think it's just, you know, a change in mentality. Obviously, everyone kind of copies the NBA. Obviously, I don't think FIBA has copied them too much. They still have a little bit of physical play. Obviously, that's why I feel like Luka is really good in this league and was well prepared for this league. You know, they made rules where you can't touch, there's not a lot of physicality. Obviously, Coach and I got to learn that this year with Brittany Griner, like, you know, the bumping and just the physical contact that we had when Coop and I played. You know, you get hit, you go to the lane, you finish. It wasn't a foul. It wasn't, you know, there was a lot more, you know, physical play. And so now a lot of these young ladies kind of shy away from the physical contact. And then, you know, if you want to get physical on defense, it's a foul. So it's just, you know, I think it's just the way the style of the game has gone. But also the young adults I feel like these young athletes, they didn't play like we played, JB. Right. You know, like if you look at LaMelo Ball coming in, you know, you could tell he played out there with his brother, so he played all the time. Now a lot of these young athletes, they get a trainer and they're working out with their trainer for 2 hours and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like our trainers were the dirt courts. Our trainers was pickup 5-on-5. Like we were constantly playing basketball. So a lot of people want to say, well, they have all these great moves. And I'm like, they have moves. Like everyone's trying to Euro step, even if two people are in front of you, instead of just driving and getting a straight line drive, getting a layup and an and one. You know, they're forcing crazy shots because, I mean, they have a skill set, but they don't have a feel for the game. And I truly believe that's what's missing. We had a feel for the game. You know, whatever defense ball, you know, Coop, all the great players, myself, like, it's just different moves. You just figure it out. Now, if they got to figure out another move, you can forget it. Like if it's
that's a great point. Great points.
It was just we had natural instinct from playing so many games, whether it was pickup, whether it was outside, whether it was at the park. You know, we just learned that from natural instinct, and I think that's what's missing with a lot of the players today.
So is that credited also to this social media era? You know, I'm in this younger generation. I know how much social media could take people over. Does that kind of hover over the ladies as well?
I think to a certain extent. I mean, the ladies have to battle a whole lot when it comes to social media and how they play on the court, more so than the guys. Although I have heard a lot of the guys are insecure and working with some of the G League guys, I see they're kind of, you know, hesitant about it as well. But, you know, we're getting made fun of on social media. You know, we look too physical. We're manly. We're this. You know, they're promoting all the gay community with the WNBA. So there's so many stereotypes with us that come with the social media. And then on top of that, if you have a bad game, then, you know, it's like 10-1. You know, you're fighting all these stereotypes and you're trying to become the best athlete that you can be. Not to say that the guys don't face a lot of those challenges too, but I think that sometimes, you know, they're so concerned with how they look on the court, and that some of them won't even risk failure or looking bad or having a bad game. Like for us, we knew, I mean, coming in, the rookies always knew the vets were going to like they were going to mold you. You know, they were going to beat your butt. You know, like they were going to kick your ass, really. You know, not to put it lightly, but like Diana Taurasi said, she wants to kill the rookies when they came in. I don't like, in this day and age, the league is so young for the NBA and the WNBA that you don't have that. You don't get the rookies coming in and getting beat up and getting like taught like, hey, it's not an easy way. Like you know, they're just getting contracts, they're getting the money, and they don't really have to fight through any hurdles. And so I think that hurts them in the long run. I think that's a huge issue. Like we had to fight, we had to earn our right to start. So if you came in and you were starting when Diana Taurasi came in and she was starting, you know, you were really good. Now you can get, you know, drafted, you can come in and start for a team, and you may not be that skilled, but it's kind of just given to you for some of these athletes.
All of that is just so well said. I mean, so many great points in that, and I totally agree with everything you said. But I want to go backwards in something you just said. Now, I'm a big supporter of women's basketball, and I know a lot of men are, especially male basketball players. We're big supporters, and most of our support came from your era, because we saw Swoops, we seen Coop, we saw the foundation, we seen the women that really broke their back for these new women to come in. And I feel like, in my personal opinion, that they are tarnishing all the hard work that was put in, because it's and this is me speaking from a male perspective, because the men speak undertone. They might not say it publicly, but it's being said. You don't want to support people that are rebelling against help. So I have a daughter. I take my daughter to we're not going to call team names, to a LA Galaxy game in the WNBA, and I walk my daughter in there and I say, hey, I want you to watch such and such and such, because I remember Coop, I remember Melvin, I remember Spoon. It was never a social thing. It was always a hoop thing. So when I go in there and it's not what I remember, I'm walking out, because there's too many political issues being driven and not enough basketball issues being driven. So my question is, at what point do the leaders or the teachers say, hey, you guys are missing what this thing was really about, and you're going in a direction that your producers, as far as the consumers that make you money, they don't want to see, which is why they call it masculine, but they don't really want to say what it's really about. You guys don't love the game like we love the game, so we're not going to support you.
Well, I think it's two things. You know, the WNBA is not as easily, for some would say, it's not as easy to market as the NBA. The NBA, my sister worked for the NBA, you know, it was just call up any company, call anyone, and just be like, oh, I work with so-and-so for the NBA. And it's like, okay, how can we support? Right. Well, how can we sponsor? How can, you know, with the WNBA, it's like a laundry list of things to even get your foot in the door for any type of sponsorships or anything, because of the narrative, and across the board, just women being professional athletes. So I think the WNBA prides, and just, I believe they pride and champion themselves on, because we take on so many social causes. And a lot of times, a lot of women would tell you in business and in corporate, like, why do the women always have to take on social causes when they're in, you know, in professional, corporate? It goes across the board. Like, why can't we just be really good at our jobs and do our jobs? Because men in those same positions, they're not championing all these causes. Mm-hmm. If anything, they're totally against them, and they're still getting tons of money and tons of support. And the fans, you know, be mad for a week and be back. So I think for us, you know, to champion, as far as the LGBT community, to champion, you know, being activists and all the social injustice that's going on, you know, that bodes well for us, because some people want to see women do more than just be professional athletes and be really great on the court. They're like, well, you're women. You should show kind of like the motherly, or like the old Southern stereotypes of how women should be, you know, abreast of all the social issues that are going on. So I think that goes into it some. And, you know, the players want to brand themselves and showcase. And sometimes that might get in the way. You know, when we started, we were so excited because – for me growing up, there weren't professional leagues. Coop was over in Italy for the best part of her career. I mean, well, some would say, you know, when she was averaging 50 a game, you know, overseas. So for us, when we got in the league, it was just like, we got to make this grow. We got to show people we can play. Like, we got next. I thought that was the best slogan for the league, because it just shows like, okay, the men's league has been here, but we got next and we can ball. And so that's what we really focus on. And now, not just for, the WNBA players, a lot of the NBA guys, they're branding themselves outside of the court. You're not thinking about other things more so than just that one focus on the court. And so I think that's just hard. And for some people that come to watch the game, they're seeing that, we had a lot of people like, we don't want to hear about Breonna Taylor, yada, yada, yada. We want to see people play. They wanted to just be about basketball. And at the end of the day, that's where the world is coming to. And that's where these young people, and which I'm okay with it. I'm okay with them using their voices. But at the end of the day, I also believe that basketball should always be first and foremost, especially when you're still building a league. The NBA wasn't the NBA, and a lot of people don't know that. The NBA wasn't the same NBA that it was 20, 30 years ago. Right. They struggled, and they had to clean up their act. They had to do certain things to become that billion-dollar industry. And so I don't want the girls to lose sight of that either. But JB, to really be honest, the young kids, they don't know. Like, the NBA always has the history of Bill Russell, Iceman George Gervin out in San Antonio. So they have videos that, NBA TV used to play all the old games. Like, no one's playing our old games of Cynthia Cooper and Cheryl Swoops. No one's seeing those old games with Nikki Teasley when she was point guard for LA. Like, she's another great point guard. I mean, there's so many great players that are doing the things that a lot of these players are doing today. And everyone's like, oh, these ladies are so much better. It's just no one. It's like, if you become a fan of the WNBA today, you're just going to think, oh, wow, these are the girls that can play. And then, like, they don't know about Melvin. They don't know about Coop. They don't know about Yolanda Griffith that's sitting on, the sidelines for Boston College now as an assistant coach. Like, they don't know how great she was. So I wish we could get, like, a WNBA vault where, the real true fans would watch it. Sometimes ESPN could throw some old games on there, and then people would be like, even the younger players would look and be like, oh, dang, I didn't even know about Nikki Teasley.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, I didn't know she was a dime dropper. It wasn't just Tisha Pinachero. Like, a lot of point guards don't know about her. So, at the end of the day, it's I think just the way we're marketed, and a lot of people don't get to see the history of the game, that the young girls growing up, the young girls who idolize WNBA players now, they don't know that part of history where the NBA guys do know. They always have someone to be compared to, or like, well, you can't do it like Mike. You can't do it like, Chris Webber. You can't do it like so-and-so. Like, we don't have that. We just have, like, Sue Bird's the greatest. Right. We don't know about Tisha Pinachero, Nikki Teasley, and other point guards. And so, or, they'll talk about some of the best post players today. Brittany Griner was the greatest, but, they don't talk about Margot Didek that was, 7'2", couldn't stop her. Polish player, like different players like that. So the comparisons aren't there because no one knows the history.
Chasity, you took a major leap after your playing career. You worked for the Hornets in the NBA for their G League affiliate. You're an assistant, first woman, in their NBA system. How important was that? And how was it dealing with all these guys and getting that respect?
That was funny, I got JB's respect, so it was no problem having the respect with the guys in the G League. For me, it was just a great opportunity because it got me close to the pro game again, and that was always one of my goals once I retired. I wanted to coach. If I did coach, at first I never really wanted to coach, but if I did, I wanted to coach on the pro level because I just felt like I was more close to that. As far as playing overseas in Europe and just hanging around. Like, when I played overseas in Europe, I was always hanging around with the male athletes. We all hung together, as JB knows. I mean, we were a family over there. So I know the stories. I know their work ethic. So for me, I wasn't intimidated as far as working with the guys. And once they understood I knew basketball, like I'm coaching, I'm telling them something, they're like, okay, what else? That's the cool thing, I think, with guys. Like, they're always trying to look for that extra edge where they can be better. With girls, you could, like, with some of the young ladies I coach, especially in college, I would tell them something. They're like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. A guy, like, oh, I can do that. I can do 10 times that, even though they don't have the talent or the skill level. But, you can't tell them they can't do something. So it was fun coaching the guys, and I really enjoyed it. And once they understood, like, wow, she really know the game. And the coaches, when they saw I love basketball as much as them, they were like, oh, okay. I remember one day in the office, and I was sitting there, and we were talking about, you know, it was Christmas or what we were going to do, and if we were dating anyone. And I was like, you know, I'm just waiting on someone that's okay with me watching basketball. They're like, Chance, why are you single? I'm like, I'm just waiting for someone that's okay with me watching basketball and just having tunnel vision. They were like, well, good luck with that. You know, everybody was like, you know what I mean? So I love the game, and once they realize my passion for the game, you know, people are going to respect that.
You know, it's something amazing. Okay, let me say it a different way. I've had several conversations with current WNBA players. I've had several conversations with professionals that play overseas. Mikey will sit here and tell you, when we talk to Coop, there's a light in her eyes when you say basketball. When we talk to you, it's a passion in you when it comes to the game. I do not see this light in these kids. It's just, I'm going to use it because I need social media following. I want to use this so I can campaign myself to start my clothing line. It's like, I know you're a fraud. I'm not buying a ticket. That's right. What they need to understand. When Mikey's never met Coop, when Mikey sat here and heard Coop 5 minutes, he's like, this woman loves the game. That's what we know. We know that as ball players, as people that love the game, you have to be a fanatic. When I talk about basketball, I can go into space. I don't feel that way about these kids. So I agree with a lot of what you said. You opened my eyes a lot to looking at it from that perspective of them not having what we had. We got to see it. And our league talks about the history of our people. I guess it needs to be more education. Like, I can't blame somebody. It's almost like taught behavior. I can't blame somebody from not understanding something, but I'm not there like you're there. So your perspective to me is helping me be more understanding of what's going on, because I just don't know. I don't get it. You know?
No, I believe coaching the young ladies and just obviously watching them in the bubble, they're just as passionate. I think there's just a difference with this young generation as far as their confidence and as far as that, like, it's just a kind of toughness they're missing. And that's probably because of AAU and, you know, everyone getting, you know, the first place trophy and everyone wins. You know, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, he talked about that mentality. JB, we didn't grow up like that. We were crying. Like, there was only one place, you know, there was only one trophy. And you had to watch everybody get that one trophy. But that built that inner toughness or drive to be like, I want that trophy. But now, you know, everybody gets a trophy, you know, for participating. So, you know, I just think they don't have that. And I mean, it's I don't know if it's anyone's fault. It's just a change in generations and a change in the way the game is played. You know, like we you know, our parents told us, hey, listen to the coach, do what you're supposed to do. You know, you come home, you want to talk about stats, our parents would be like, well, I looked out there, you weren't playing defense, you didn't get rebounds, you know. But now it's the parents be like, oh, you should have scored, you know. So it's just the whole change in mentality, and it does hurt the kids. And, you know, some of the really great athletes get that drive you know, from somewhere else, and they have to find it on their own. It was built into us.
I want to get thoughts on LaMelo Ball, the Hornets taking him at number 3, and, you know, you had ties with that franchise, so go into that for us.
I couldn't believe Michael Jordan did it. You know, he drafted LaMelo Ball, and I know everyone hates on LeVar. I've been watching this story from the beginning. I've been on the Facebook. I've been a Facebook fan from watching the whole family. I'm okay with LeVar because of the way he treats his wife. And if everyone knows the background of that story, then, you know, you kind of see the other side of that guy. But I like LaMelo Ball. I like them drafting him with that pick. You know, Charlotte is one of those I'm from North Carolina. It's the country. It's conservative. It's not a big market. But I think he'll bring a lot of excitement there with Devontae Graham and some of those other young guys. And obviously the head coach for the Charlotte Hornets, you know, fun guy, loves to give them space and opportunity and not put, you know, handcuffs on the guys. So I think he'll fit in great with that system. And, you know, if Lonzo Ball wants to sign up there next year, I think that'll be great too.
There you go.
All right, Mrs. Melvin. Now it's time for the hardball questions. JB's favorite part of this whole thing. Welcome to Truth for Truth on the Truth Podcast, where we put you on the spot about topics from your career. Do you solemnly swear that you will tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this segment?
I will tell the truth. Nothing but the truth.
You can't handle the
All
truth.
right, JB, take it over.
All right. There's 5 seconds on the clock. On your right, you got Taurasi. On your left, you got Coop. When you come out of the huddle, who are you giving the ball to?
I am going to give the ball to Diana.
Woo-hoo, Coop's going to kill you.
She's going to kill me now to Diana.
Coop's going to kill you.
Coop is a scorer. Coop can get, any bucket, but Diana is just something fierce, with that under the last 5 seconds. It's unbelievable. And now watching her in person, my answer is truth, because I've watched Diana the Truth in person right on the sideline, and to see that, I can only go with her right now.
Yeah, Diana's a killer. Okay.
She's a killer.
All right, I got another one. All right. You got Brittany Griner on the block, and Griffin is guarding her. What happens?
Oh, wow.
I asked all the hard questions.
If Yo is guarding her, I don't even know if BG would get the ball at this point. I really don't. I mean, Yo is something fierce and tough, and I just don't even know. I don't know. BG wouldn't want to see Yo. She really.
I don't think so. Yeah, I'm sorry, Michael.
No, I was going to hop in and ask you for the third one, Chasity. What does the WNBA need to do to really, gain on that level to the NBA? Is it the timing because it's a new league? I know you mentioned prior, but what should be done? What do you want to see be done?
For the league as far as marketing, or just bringing back the history of the game?
Like everything. Like how could, like, all these WNBA players are saying they're not getting the same pay as the NBA players and the same, TV coverage. How could that all happen?
Well, I'm starting to do that now, bringing more players back as coaches. I think it really, truly hurt the league because there was a disconnect when we all left and we didn't have anything, we didn't have anything else. Once we left, they just brought in the new players, all the younger players. And so there was a disconnect with the fan base. There was a disconnect with the media. The media had covered Coop and everyone for so long. And then this new generation came in that's kind of covering our league, wasn't necessarily covering college. So then they had to learn a new player. So there was a huge disconnect when a lot of the greats, Lisa Leslie, my generation, when we all retired, and then they just brought in a slew of new people. And the same thing may happen when Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi decide to hang up their kicks. So we have to manage that a little bit better, with the fan base, with the media. And like I said, there's got to be some way we can highlight those older games and make sure we highlight, even if it's just halftime of games, like show Yolanda Griffith, show Nikki Teasley, show there's so many. I mean, Elena Beard. I mean, she just recently retired, but there's so many. Malakia Jones, like Cleveland Rockers. Like people don't even know those teams existed. I think that like Houston Comets folding, the Miami Soul folding, like they need to highlight that and let people know, like, hey, these were real franchises and we have fans. It was just a matter of money, and it's a matter of the owner saying, hey, we don't want the WNBA. It wasn't like people weren't, excited about the team in Portland when we had the team in Portland, when we had the team in Miami. People watch those games. People still DM me today about the Cleveland Rockers. So if there's a way we could bridge that gap and kind of show that history, I think it would speak volumes for the league, and I think it would also give a sense of pride to the players that are currently playing today.
Yeah, well said. I got one more tough one. Now, I, for one, think Brittany Griner is an amazing talent. I think she is a freak. I think she has God-given freakazoid gifts before basketball even came to play. I always say Wilt Chamberlain, Lou Alcindor, which is Kareem to people that don't know. I thought she had that ability, but when Wilt and Lou Alcindor, Kareem came into the league, we're looking at 50 points, 20 rebounds, 39 points, 20 rebounds. What does Brittany have to do to get more dominant? Because she has everything else. You're there with her.
No, BG is hell of a talent, tons of potential. I will say this, coaching her this year, I was frustrated as well because like I said, a lot of these younger players aren't used to physicality. And, you know, the refs let a lot of people do a lot of dirty stuff to Brittany. So a lot of times she's trying to protect herself. And, you know, they would never have that. I think the center that got it the worst, and I mean, probably Kareem and they would argue this, was Shaq. You know, he probably got it the worst with dirty hits and people like literally just beating him up and climbing on his back. So BG has to go through a lot of that. It's harder to see on television because I was the same way. I'd be like, BG, get stronger. You know, now I'm on the sideline. I'm getting attacked because I'm looking at the ref like, you know, they can't do that. Like she can get, you know, injured, you know, seriously, she really can. So I think she wants to protect herself at times. So she's toning it down where she's not going as hard. Only because, you know, she's got to, you know, she's commodity. She's got to protect herself and she's got to play within the game. But I think with some of the rules, if just some of that, you know, some of those calls were called and she could really be as dominant as she really is, it would show in the WNBA. So
I respect that.
Okay. All right, Chasity, thank you so much for coming on as our part 2 of episode 3 of Women's Appreciation Day on the Truth Podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
Bye, sis.
All righty.
All right, that'll do it. Like I said, episode 3 of the Truth Podcast. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of myself, Jermaine's, and our guests. Stay tuned for more episodes. We got more coming by the week. So coming soon, check us out on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, ESPN CLT.com, and follow us on social media, The Truth Podcast on Facebook, and at Truth Podcast ESPN on Instagram. If you want to follow us, just look right above our faces, right, JB? Another great episode of The Truth Podcast.